For the first time in 2025, the Detroit Tigers drop a series at home. We'll talk about that and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Monday, May 12th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen. Every single day, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. Welcome in. Welcome all. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed the weather and had an absolutely fantastic weekend. Happy belated Mother's Day to all of the wonderful mothers in all of our lives. It's always cool just to see the all the pink and everything at the park, and then obviously the blue for Father's Day. Really cool to have Young's mom, Jason, and Josh's Young's mom at the game as they play against each other. That was a really cool moment. And yeah, man, baseball's the best. So shout out to all of the wonderful and beautiful mothers out there. Today, we discuss the Tigers dropping 2 of 3 to the Texas Rangers. As I said in the cold open, that is the first home series loss for the Detroit Tigers in 2025. They win Friday by a score of 2-1. And then 2 relatively uncompetitive ball games on Saturday and Sunday, 10-3 on Saturday. They get smacked, and then 6-1. The Tigers do avoid the shutout there late in the 9th inning. And that brings their record to 26-15, just their 4th series loss as a whole on the season. My first thought after the game on Sunday is honestly just like everything is okay. You know, that the Rangers got off to a slow start because their offense has been brutal and not even close to what people, I mean, myself included, expected their offense to be. But that is still an incredibly talented lineup with a really good pitching staff. I mean, that is one of the only times so far this entire season that going into a series, you looked at, and we talked about it on Friday, right? Going into the series, you look at a pitching matchup or the pitching matchups for the series, and you go, wow, the Rangers are at worst matching what the Tigers are throwing out there. And I think you could very easily argue, maybe even had the advantage on the mound in terms of starting pitching going into this weekend. So, yeah, everything's okay. This obviously, it sucks to lose a series, but this was the thing that is more upsetting to me is the fact that they were finally not close games, more so than they were just like losses. That Rangers team, I don't care what their record is, or again, the fact that the offense was struggling. It's a really good ball club. Okay. It's the fact that it was rather uncompetitive on Saturday. And then again, honestly, once you got later into the game on Sunday too. But it's DeGrom and Nate Eovaldi, man. Like that's you're not going to face those two back to back too often. Like going throughout a season, you're not going to face pitchers of that caliber throughout the season. So I'm really not losing sleep over it. I think the Tigers will be fine, and they've responded to losses really well. In terms of what went wrong, Jack Flaherty, 3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 4 home runs against. His ERA in the season is now 4.61. He just has no command right now. I mean, he was really spraying the ball all over the place in this one. But when you look at the homers, and honestly, you just look at the outing as a whole, one of the things that really stands out to me was, and stood out during the outing, was how ineffective his fastball was. I mean, genuinely was like batting practice. And again, the command of it and the location where he was putting it was not very good. He was piping fastballs over the heart of the plate for a lot of this ball game. But something that we talked about when Jack Flaherty got signed for the first time 2 years ago, and then again this past winter when the reunion happened, is that a lot of Jack Flaherty's success on the mound is, I don't want to say like solely determined. That's far too dramatic and honestly just not accurate. But it is his effectiveness of his fastball is at worst loosely correlated, if not tightly correlated, to his success year by year in his career. The years in which his fastball is really effective, he is much better. In those years, where he was dealing with injuries and was struggling when he was on the field, his fastball was terrible. So I think I'm not like the sky is falling. Oh my goodness, Jack Flaherty's terrible. But like I do have a little bit more concern over Flaherty than I do say Reese Olson, who we'll talk about in a second, didn't have a particularly great outing either. I think the knuckle curve he has is fantastic. The slider he has when located well is fantastic. The fact that he can play both of those pitches off of his fastball is what makes all three of them good. And right now, it really just seems like guys are waiting for him to throw the fastball and then absolutely obliterating it. So needs to make an adjustment. And I'm sure Fetter and Lund are doing everything they can to work with Flaherty to get that fastball back to a point where they want it to be. But that was kind of the biggest thing that I noticed, and is kind of the thing that I, again, not necessarily worry about, but I am going to be paying very close attention to his fastball going forward. And if it continues to get rocked, then I might start being a little bit more than just slightly concerned. Reese Olson, 4 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and the home run against. His ERA on the year is now 3.38. This is one where I am not worried literally whatsoever. I did not see anything in this outing that would worry me about like Reese Olson going forward. This was legitimately just the command wasn't great. Like on his secondary stuff, when it was put where he even remotely wanted it to be, he was still really good. And it wasn't a consistent thing where like every changeup he threw was terrible or every slider he threw was a hanger, right? Like it was just, he left a couple of them up. And that's something he hasn't done this year. So I have no reason to believe that he's going to start doing it going forward. Just one of those outings. It's a long season. It's going to happen. As I said in the beginning, the Tigers haven't played and been on the losing side of a blowout yet this year. Like the Saturday was kind of the first one that you look at and you go, wow, that the Tigers really never were in that game and didn't really have a chance to win it late. They've played in almost all close games. They were gonna lose big eventually. I'm sorry. It's the middle of May. Like they're gonna lose big again, and probably multiple times still going forward this season. It's not the end of the world because they dropped 2 games to a talented team like the Rangers in the middle of May. Man, it's really not to me. We've gotten so much more out of this team so far this season than we expected, and hopefully we'll talk about the end of the show. Some reinforcements are coming. But yeah, back on, ADHD, back on track here. As far as the Reese Olson outing, it was literally just like the changeup he threw that got hit out of the park. Well, that was way higher than he wanted it. The slider he hung to Marcus Semien was hung. Like, and there's no mistake about it. And he got him. The next time Semien came up to the plate, he threw a slider that went way outside. And he goes, okay, you want to hit that out of the park again? Go have fun with this one. And he got him on, swinging on strike 3. But just a couple of really bad pitches. And that one was at the second inning was just really inefficient and was kind of spraying the ball all over the place. The fact that he walked out of that inning was only 2 or 3 to nothing was honestly nothing short of a miracle. So I mean, it'll happen. I'm not worried about Reese Olson whatsoever going forward. Let's talk about the offense. Okay. That struggled this weekend as a whole. We'll do that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered where the heck did all of my money go? Well, between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO that gives you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app either. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. You can stop managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on random stuff, honestly, like food delivery, etc. And now I budget way smarter and save way more. Managing money with your partner has also never been easier and smoother. You can track your personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off of your first year. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping Game 1 against the Boston Red Sox, which we will preview at the end of today's episode. Talking about this series loss to the Rangers first and foremost, however, the offense, I have a similar tune to the offense specifically as I do really this series as a whole. And that's just like, I'm not really taking this too hard. Again, DeGrom and Eovaldi back-to-back is brutal, man. Those are two of the best pitchers literally in all of baseball. Eovaldi, if the season ended today, would get Cy Young votes, and DeGrom, I mean, as I said on Friday, and unless you're just now starting to follow baseball, is one of the best one of the best pitchers to ever step foot on a baseball field, literally ever. Just coming off of a lot of injuries, another year older, obviously. But I'm not going to get mad at this offense getting diced by two of the best starters that not only the American League, but that all of baseball really has to offer. I also didn't think the approach was terrible. Like they made DeGrom work at least, right? We're getting some base runners every once in a while with 2 outs, just can't really string anything together, making him go deep into counts, trying to knock him out of the game early. And they did. He only, quote unquote, went 5 innings. So that's kind of what you want. And then on the pitching side of things for the Tigers, the game just got away from them and there wasn't really a chance to crawl back into it. So and then Eovaldi, I've said this on this show before. I think Nate Eovaldi is legitimately one of the most underrated players in baseball over the last like 3 or 4 years. Nobody talks about him in like the upper echelon of, premier pitching in the American League, and he is year in and year out when he's healthy. So tip of the cap. You made DeGrom work at least. He got 10 strikeouts in 5 innings, but like at least you pushed him out of the game relatively early. If it becomes a theme and the offense just falls off a cliff and is terrible going forward, then obviously we'll address that. But I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. We've had a month and a half of pretty darn good offense, way more than I was expecting so far. And this 2-game sample over the weekend was against 2 premier pitchers in the sport. And even, Corbin, for as much as he got clowned on in Washington, has had a great career resurgence. And the Tigers only scored 2 on him on Friday, but he's had a phenomenal season this year as well. I think he's got a sub-3 ERA. So now, again, big picture, if you want to take that step, and I think this is a fair criticism, if you want to take that step and really kind of catapult yourself in the eyes of the media and the fans as one of the premier teams in baseball and a true World Series contender, well, then you're going to have to hit top-end pitching. Because in meaningful games and in October, you're only going to face premier pitching. So that is, I think, a very fair criticism if you come into this show kind of with that mindset. And I think that's a valid thing to watch out for going forward. But in a vacuum, and again, with how well this offense has played, I'm not going to lose sleep over not being able to get anything going against DeGrom and Nasty Nate. What went right this weekend? Well, we're going to start with Tarik Skubal because I'm not sure anything went more right than him. 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 12 strikeouts. His ERA in the season is now 2.08. In his last 6 starts, he has 50 strikeouts and 1 walk. On Friday, he recorded 32. That is real. 32 whiffs against the Texas Rangers. You know, it's funny because I think media outlets want to try and keep things fresh. And, you know, at the end of the day, they're paid for clicks and eyes. And so I think it's kind of trendy to when people do like, oh, like who's the Cy Young front runner? Who are the best pitchers in the American League? Who are the best pitchers in baseball? Let's do a ranking. And you see like Skubal is down in like 4, 5, 6 range on some of these. It's inexcusable. He won the Cy Young unanimously a year ago, and he has a 2.08 ERA with 1 walk in his last 6 starts. He is still the best pitcher in baseball. And I think the only reason I can come up with as to why some of these media outlets are maybe not putting him at number 1 is just voter fatigue. Because it's been over a year now of him being the best pitcher in baseball. Dominant. 32 whiffs is the most by a starting pitcher this year. It's the most by a starting pitcher in a couple of summers. I think 2023 was the last time that there was a 32 whiff or more performance. He is the baddest dude on the planet. And the longer you wait to get an extension done, the higher that price tag is going to get. We can take a whole episode on an off day here coming up. I think this week I already have kind of something laid out, but we'll have plenty of off days throughout the summer, maybe during the All-Star break or something too, where we kind of break down the ins and outs of, you know, his contract extension and kind of the negotiations and the powers that be and whatnot. But this dude is Detroit sports at the present moment. And it's pretty darn cool. It's pretty darn cool. I hope he is a Tiger for a very, very long time. The bullpen was also great on Friday. Tommy Kahnle and Will Vest, both of them do phenomenal work. The thing I want to point out here, and I tweeted this, is the usage. Pay attention. Pay attention to when AJ Hinch uses specific players, okay? Tommy Kahnle, in a 1-run game, he had Kahnle and Vest available. Kahnle pitched the 8th inning and got the, 6, 7, 8 hitters? Maybe it was 7, 8, 9 even. Got the bottom of the lineup, however, in the 8th. Will Vest got the top of the lineup and got the 9th, also in a 1-run game. I think that tells us all we need to know about who is the de facto closer or the highest leverage reliever, as AJ Hinch says, going forward when everybody is available in that bullpen. Colt Keith on Friday I thought was fantastic. I also appreciate the fact that AJ is now getting him a lot more plate appearances and opportunities against left-handed pitching. I think, you know, when he wasn't hitting well and whatnot, I kind of understood, you know, making him a little bit more of a platoon guy. But I think that AJ and this front office both understand that when Colt Keith is at his best, when you're, you know, talking about where he is in this lineup card and kind of just what he is to this organization going forward, it is not as a platoon player. So I appreciate that. Dylan Dingler, I thought, had a really solid weekend behind the plate. Maybe not the best offensive production in the world, but you can't really say that about too many people from this weekend. That was rather quiet offensively. I think he has done such a fantastic job in the absence of Jake Rogers to kind of be a really mature presence behind home plate. And for this being his first major league season, I think that's really telling. Now, the only other thing I want to point out is Chase Lee pitching this weekend. We'll talk kind of about his roster situation here in stuff in segment 3. But, the big thing that I have been very, big on talking about with Lee so far is that he's so dynamic and so good against right-handed hitting. Well, this weekend, he got a lot of opportunities against lefties and shined. I thought he looked fantastic. He faced back-to-back lefties. I think it was on Saturday. I think Saturday, and made both of them take like uncompetitive, like little league swings. Like, oh my goodness, he genuinely had no clue where the ball was going type of swings. And I really like this dude a lot. I hope that he stays in the bullpen, and I think that he's a legitimate weapon for this team going forward. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's talk stuff. Okay. We're kind of done talking about this weekend. We'll talk about all the off the field stuff we need to cover, and then we'll preview Boston right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats that'll keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, well, the in-shell options are a classic favorite as well. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, everybody, welcome back. Your third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Let's talk stuff. So one of the things I want to point out is just how unreal the AL Central has been. And we talked about this on Friday's show, so we don't have to spend too much time on it now. But I'm recording this during the Twins game on Sunday. They came back and at a minimum, are going to make that a close game. If not win their, 8th game in a row. They have a chance to be over 500 after a terrible start to the season. Kansas City is like maybe the hottest team in all of baseball. They've won at one point. It was 15 of 17. I think hopefully the Red Sox take care of business. I'm recording during that game as well on Sunday and give us a little bit of breathing room there. And then Cleveland's just doing Cleveland things. They're so Cleveland, it's so, and I don't even mean that as like disrespect or like division rivalry, whatever, but like they have like a negative 30 or 40 run differential, and they have 22 wins and are, 2 games back from the Tigers. Like they play on Sunday Night Baseball, so hopefully the Phillies can help us out a little bit too, but just the most Cleveland thing ever to be like comfortably negative in run differential and being one of the better records in the American League. And then, like we said on Friday, the White Sox got literally the Pope. So like it's kind of looking up for everybody here in the American League Central. But the reason I bring that up is just like the Tigers dropped the series. And I think when, again, I said this at the end of last week, we need to not be so reactionary. Okay. And the reason why is all of those things are true. All 3 of those teams are having really good seasons, and the Twins and Royals are legitimately maybe the 2 hottest teams in all of baseball. And yet, the Detroit Tigers still have over a game cushion on the rest of the American League Central. That's how good they've been playing. As I record this, they still have a 2-game cushion. If Cleveland and Kansas City both lose, they have a 2.5 game cushion still atop their division. It is okay. They are going to lose. I hate to break it to you. Okay. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. They're going to lose other series this year as well. Multiple, even. They're not going to win every series the rest of the season. The Rangers are a good team. And, every team is going to lose, 50 plus games a year. So I just wanted to point that out. The American League Central is really fun. It's on fire, and the Tigers sit atop of it still. So fun times to be a Detroit Tiger fan. Casey Mize, unfortunately, some more bad news over the weekend, heads to the 15-day injured list for a mild hamstring strain. They really wanted to emphasize the fact that it was mild. Okay. They said on the broadcast, I think they said the word mild about 50 times. For now, it's Chase Lee because it wasn't Mize's turn in the rotation. So they wanted more bullpen depth. Once Mize's turn in the rotation comes back, which is on Tuesday, then they will send down somebody in the bullpen, presumably still Chase Lee, but I'm not sure. And they'll call up a starting pitcher. Yeah, it just sucks. The silver lining here is A, it's May. B, he's been really good. And C, it's not anything throwing related. It's a hammy. Okay. Now the not silver lining, what's the opposite of silver lining? I don't know. Is that the injury he has now is an injury that sidelined him for a very long time last season. It's a hamstring injury that kept him out and put him on the 60-day IL one point last year. So they're stressing that it's mild. I'm hoping that that's the case. We want Mize back in this rotation as soon as possible. He's tied for like the league lead in pitching wins and has had an absolutely phenomenal season. But if you're going to take anything positive out of it, it's happening early in the year. And it's not shoulder, arm, or anything like that. Okay. So hopefully, I'd imagine it's Montero. We'll talk about that here, I guess, in a second. John Brebbia back as well. Didn't look particularly sharp, but looked good before his injury. So hopefully he can get back on track. And if not, the Tigers have reinforcements in the minors that can come up and be pretty good bullpen options for them. One of the interesting things that I want to ask and propose to the class here is Matt Vierling. So Vierling is now, it looks like every day. Wow. I was going to say every day getting closer and closer to returning. No kidding. Good analysis there. It just, he's rehabbing. He's been rehabbing down in Toledo now. He's hitting home runs down there. He looks really good. I'd imagine that we are rather close to him coming back within the next week or so. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think when he comes back, everybody's asking where does he fit in the lineup card. Dare I say, I think I want him at third and I want to leave Javi in center. Am I losing my mind? Please tell me if that's preposterous. Jace Young is hitting like 100 with an OPS in like the 300s. Okay. And like, if they move him to center, they can manage. If they put Vierling in center, Andy Ibanez, Zach McKinstry can play third, right? Javi Baez can play third. Like you have options. I'm not saying they're pigeonholed into either of these, 100%. And knowing, AJ Hinch and how he makes his lineups, the answer is probably that he will get a healthy dose of third base and center field. But I have no issues with Javi in center. It keeps Trey Sweeney in the lineup, who's been on fire lately. And you can have Vierling at third base, and that moves off, Jace Young, who has been a giant weak spot in the lineup. I think that makes a lot more sense to me than, and again, AJ Hinch lineup. Okay. We're having this conversation. It's going to be a huge talking point on like media outlets when the closer he gets to returning. It's an AJ Hinch team. He will play both and probably play both a lot. But I think I'm more excited for him to get back at third base there. Tigers kick off a 3-game series against the Red Sox today as you listen to this on Monday. A lot happening in Red Sox land as it stands currently. The Devers drama is wild. The dude just says, I'm not playing first base, but is raking. Like I'm talking, what he go like 4 for 5 with a homer or something. Like he is absolutely mashing. So he's kind of backing it up a little bit. Bregman got off to a really good start, has been a little bit quieter lately, but got off to a fantastic start. Obviously, all the drama with Bregman and the Tigers. One of the things that is interesting for the Red Sox is their pitching depth. We look at the pitching matchups in this series. Tanner Houck against Jackson Jobe on Monday. Bayo against TBD on Tuesday. Bayo is one of my favorite young pitchers in baseball. I'd imagine it's Montero. And the reason why is because the last time Montero pitched was the doubleheader in which Casey Mize pitched. So it's still, the exact same amount of time as if it was Mize. I think that makes a lot of sense. He's been the guy that they call up. I don't see any reason why it won't be, but I think there's an outside chance for, maybe they just want to keep as many relievers as possible. They go to a bullpen day. We know that the pitching chaos thing can work with this team, and that's not going to be a problem for them, and honestly might even be better than some other options. And then game 3 is Hunter Dobbins against Tarik Skubal. Dobbins, a young pitcher who is pitching in his first full season and has been fantastic for the Sox this year, but Tarik Skubal is Tarik Skubal. So you get those 3 at home. I think the expectation should be to go take 2 of 3 from this Red Sox team that's been really inconsistent. Trevor Story's been really bad offensively. The thing to watch out for, and this is why the Red Sox are kind of a weird matchup for me, is the Tigers are way, way, way aggressive in just putting the ball in the strike zone, right? Especially first pitch. The Red Sox don't walk. The season numbers aren't like stellar, but you look at the last like few weeks, even in a vacuum, this team does not draw walks. So it'll be interesting for me to see, a pitching staff in the Tigers whose mindset is so determined on getting ahead in the count. That's their whole philosophy. Against an aggressively swinging offense like the Red Sox, and kind of see who comes out on top there. But yeah, like everything's okay. That's really my biggest theme here. This team has responded to losses very well. And believe it or not, they were not going to go undefeated in series at home throughout a full season. They'll lose more games too. I promise. Just bounce back tomorrow and keep your spot at the top of the American League Central. Okay. Because the Red Sox are a pretty darn good team. Just respond. It's about how you respond. Okay, thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day, and we will, of course, be back tomorrow. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.